Y-msf, you know him and you love him. God, how many times am I going to mention this company? Our local kaiju figure making company that produces figures of kaiju that for some reason Bandai won't do. I gotta admit, last year, Y-msf really popped off with their multiple Zillas, Heteras, Melt King, Open Mouth Orga, Rose Violante, and not to mention all of the sculpts they did last year that they have yet to release. They made some major bags last year, and I can put some respect on it. Not to mention, they're off to a great start for 2024 as they've released Godzilla figures for 2001, 2004, 1964, 71, 73, and even more variations of Zilla and the Melt King, which I still need to get. And now, Rodan 1964, and what seemingly felt out of the blue, a Godzilla from the Marvel Comics. Whenever I saw this post on Instagram, I knew this was an immediate yes. So when the sales post went up, I was quick to the trigger and snagged my own. If anyone is wondering about how the DM ordering process was, it was fairly smooth. Just make sure to pay in yen, unlike me. Y-msf let it slide, thankfully. 4 days later, the figure was here. So let's get this bad boy unboxed. Seems I've always got to review some sort of Y-msf Godzilla every year, huh? Oh wow. Huh. That is very strange. That is very strange to look at. This is a 6-inch Marvel Godzilla figure. Let's see if there we go. Oh wow. Okay then. So here we have what is called the Raymond Toys Green Monster, but for simplicity I will be referring to this figure as the Y-msf Marvel Godzilla. So before getting into the nitty gritty of this figure, let's go into the origin of the Big G here. This version of the King appears in 24 comic issues from Marvel from 1977 to 1979 in a series referred to as Godzilla King of the Monsters. In this series, this Goji was taking on everyone from the Fantastic Four, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and most prominently, the Avengers. But this Godzilla wasn't just fighting human characters. Oh no. He also did battle with multiple monsters and even a mech that was first introduced into the series called Red Ronin. This Godzilla was genuinely a force of nature that was unstoppable. Some argue that this could be considered the strongest Godzilla considering some of the characters he faced having godlike feats. In 2006, this series got reissued, unfortunately in black and white. I really don't know why they decided to make the comic pages black and white, but it's still awesome they gave it another run back then. I personally haven't read the comics, but depending on how much all 24 issues are, I may consider it. So now with some brief knowledge of this specific version of the Atomic King, let's go over the figure. Going into sculpt for this figure, he looks amazing. Just from the general shape, you know immediately this is the Marvel Godzilla. Because this Godzilla was hand-drawn, his design was always changing slightly in the comics, but with this version of Marvel's Big G, it strikes a happy medium for the design overall. From the face shape, to the spines, and even down to the body proportions. Not to mention, they did some stylization with the scales on his body, and it looks great. To be honest, the sculpting work here on this guy is probably one of Y-msf's best. It's up there with their top 5 in terms of texture and pure aesthetic. And to get paint out of the way real quick, let's do a lightning round. This is probably one of their most accurate paint jobs they've done, obviously. The shade of green they used, albeit a little too light for my taste, is very nice. The teeth are nicely painted white, and the eyes and shading around them are very well done. If I were to nitpick at all, I'd say maybe some shading on the figure would have been nice, but it's still 1-to-1 basically. Going into articulation, his arms, legs, and tail are on rotation joints. They move a full 360, but man are they super stiff. Heating up this figure would probably help, but if you're not going to do that, like me, please be cautious when moving them because here's what the figure sounds like when moving him around. Oh my god. My only suggestion is that the head could have also been on a rotation joint, but this figure still has good articulation. Much better than some of Bandai's figures. Cough, cough! For sizing, this figure comes in at around 6.7 inches, so he'll work good with other 6 to 8 inch kaiju figures. So let's do some size comparisons. Here is some SH Monstars Godzilla figures next to him, some Haya Godzilla figures, SH Figuarts Ultraman figures, various Marvel characters, various Y-msf figures, and finally here's Goku. So, my final rating on this guy is a 9.8 out of 10. A surprise addition to the Y-msf line, but a welcome one. This figure, to my knowledge, kinda came out of nowhere, and pretty much right after this figure was revealed, it was then put up for sale. Not to mention they did a small reissue of this Goji here too. This is very out of character for Y-msf, as they usually tease these figures for a very long time before releasing them to the public. All of that being said, however, this is a very welcome addition to the collection. With this figure being released, this could mean we'll be getting more unique Godzilla designs from comics, shows, and hell, it's a stretch, maybe even some concept art designs. But coming back to this guy, for such a quick release, Y-msf and or Raymond Toys did a fantastic job on giving the Marvel Godzilla a good 6-inch Movie Monster Series style figure. And I can't wait to see what else Y-msf has in store for this year. If you get the chance to buy this figure for a decent price, I would highly recommend making that purchase, as this is just a badass figure for anyone's collection. So that's going to wrap up today's review. With returning to YouTube, various series like my figure reviews are also returning with a slight revision and update. I will be doing many more figure reviews this year, and some of them are going to be very special reviews. I can't say much yet, but trust me, there are some fun ones coming in the future. So I'm Seismic, stick around if you're interested, remember to stay hydrated, and I will see you all on the flip side. Peace out! Also, dear Y-msf, make a Stan Winston Godzilla!